Making £300 million worth of budget cuts across Birmingham was never going to be easy or popular, but the man appointed to see them through is now facing a different controversy. He's unelected and has been accused of overruling elected councillors who want to scrutinise the decisions being made.
Among them, plans to close 4 day centres for adults with disabilities. Opposition councillors wanted the authority to reconsider the plans in the wake of strong opposition. But lead Commissioner Max Caller blocked it, saying the council doesn't have time or money to waste by delaying their closure. Here's our political reporter, Lewis Warner.
Work to bring Birmingham some much-needed festive cheer is now underway after what has been a year of cuts and consequences. Tough financial decisions, including cuts to services, have been overseen by lead Commissioner Max Caller. He came out of retirement to help fix the City Council after it declared effective bankruptcy last year. But as an unelected appointee of the previous government, some are concerned about how he wields his power.
It's not as easy as that. You just do not get it.
Recently, he blocked a push from councillors to rethink the closure of 4 day centres for adults with disabilities, because he says a delay in shutting them down would cost too much.
But you've blocked that from happening. Why?
First of all, because when the council signed up for the exceptional financial support scheme, it undertook to government that it would use the most expeditious process to carry all the difficult decisions. Secondly, the scrutiny committee has already had the opportunity to look at the proposed decision and make its views known to Cabinet. And thirdly, because every month's delay costs around £100,000.
But calling in a decision is a normal democratic process, something that the Conservative group are really disappointed they've been told they can't do, and something that's upset Labour as well. This is a message from one Labour MP for you. Let's see what Preet has to say.
Max, I'm really disappointed with your decision. You haven't considered cooperative models, mutuals, or a partnership approach with our communities. Your intervention has denied democratic scrutiny. These are our assets. Once we lose them, they never come back. It's our community, our voice. Will you reconsider?
Will you reconsider this decision to block these call for scrutiny on this decision?
It's the council's decision, and it's the Cabinet's recommendation, and it was actually full council's decision to propose the closure of these day centres to meet the budget gap.
Of course, but you have intervened to block the scrutiny of that decision.
I have not, because as I've just said, scrutiny has taken place because the process of pre-decision scrutiny means that scrutiny members have already had an opportunity to look at this.
The council has also withdrawn specialist transport for hundreds of young people with special educational needs and disabilities. Legally, it only has to provide it until the age of 16, leaving many unable to get to school at all.
In October, when you were appointed last year, it was one of the issues highlighted to you in the letter from Michael Gove that I've got here. It states, the Secretary of State has asked the team works closely to improve the service for the long-term benefit of children and young people. How do you think removing transport for those over the age of 16 to get to school is in their long-term benefit?
So the issue of home to school transport is covered by statute. Many councils in the past, without the benefit of the legislative requirements, have offered this service, and many councils up and down the country have had to take the service away because of budget constraints. Birmingham is no different.
But this letter specifically asks you and your team to improve the service for the long-term benefit of children and young people. How are you doing that?
And you can look at Mr. Coughlan's report. He's one of the best value commissioners, but he's also the DFE commissioner, pointing out how the SEND service has improved.
These people would say their lives have been torn apart. I'd like to just play you a quick message from a mother whose son now is unable to go to school simply because that decision means he can't get there.
My son Jake is currently missing out on 4 days of school each week. This is since the transport has been taken away from him. His disability means accessing public transport by himself isn't possible, and I can't afford the cost of taxis. He is now at home suffering because of the actions of Birmingham City Council, which is beyond Jake's control. So my question to you, how is that fair?
That's not fair, is it?
Well, the council has got to live within its means. The council has got to live within its means. It has no choice. That's what the law requires, and it hasn't done so. And it has to take really difficult decisions to balance those books. And
Jake's future is now on the line because he will lose 4 days of school. But that will have a demonstrable impact on his life for years to come.
If Parliament wants to increase the services, it can do so. And councils, regrettably, up and down the country have had to stop providing services above what is required by statute. There are no choices. No choices for councils, particularly when they overspend.
Final question. It's the Chancellor's budget on Wednesday. What kind of help do you think the City Council could really do with?
The Chancellor has to make very difficult decisions, and it's not my job to help.
But you know what would help the City Council, don't you? So what would that be?
Well, I know that the whole of local government, along with lots and lots of public services, would all be saying they want more money. But I also know that the Chancellor has a difficult challenge to balance expenditure requests with income that she can get in. It's a difficult job.
Well, Lewis joins us in the studio. Lewis, we heard at the start of your report there the criticism that Max Calla is unelected, so perhaps shouldn't be stopping councillors who are elected doing what they've been voted in to do. What more can you tell us about that controversy?
Well, the Local Government Act does give him the power to do what he has done. That being said, there is still that unease among some councillors and even a Labour MP you heard there about how that power is used. It's not his job to decide where the council makes cuts, but it is his job, he says, to hold the council to account and make sure once they have decided that they do follow through with that. Now, we don't actually get to speak to Mr. Calla all that often. I asked him today also about the equal pay bill that was originally thought to be in the region of £700 million. Well, now it's rumoured, expected, some by the unions particularly, that will be far smaller than that, maybe is in the region of £300 million. So there are some questions about whether these cuts are as necessary. Now, Max Calla says to that the cuts that are currently being made, £300 million of savings, are not actually to do with the equal pay bill. They're because the council has been overspending in departments like children and families for send transport. So the worrying inference from that will be if this £300 million is saved over the next 2 years, that in the next 12 months, when this equal pay liability is finally decided, we get that final budget, there will then be another great big whacking bill for Birmingham City Council to find money for, potentially maybe not £700 million, but maybe another £300 million. Now, that was already the largest cut any local authority had ever made. So the idea that there's even more of that to come potentially in a couple of years' time will be really worrying for people.
And as we've heard, very difficult decisions. Lewis, thank you.